What's up everybody, it's Grant bringing you guys a new video. And for those of you that follow the channel, you know that about coming up actually on a year now, I started trying out different forms of martial arts to see how I would do, how I would like it, and then I posted about it on my YouTube channel. Now of course, as you guys who watch those videos would know, I had a lot of fun with each of the different styles of martial arts and I've continued to do so up until this day. And of course, I'm somebody who wants to be, good at everything I do. So even though it's not necessarily something you should do, especially with when you're just trying to learn and have fun, I do fall into the pattern of somebody who looks up, how to get better at this martial art faster, how to do this better faster, and things like that. And when I was looking at the different videos on YouTube, I actually came across a bunch that have been and are, of course, still going to be very helpful for me in the future as well. So I was thinking to myself, what if I made one about karate? Obviously, again, for those of you that follow the channel, I've been in karate since I was 6 years old. I'm 21 now, so of course I, have I'd say a good amount of experience in karate. So I decided that I would make a video telling you guys, in my opinion, 3 ways that you could get better at karate faster. So anyways guys, let's get right into those 3 ways. So the first one, and actually one that many people don't really find that obvious, which is kind of surprising to me, is homework. Now you're probably wondering what I mean by homework. So say for example, take school, right? Your regular schooling, your regular education. You don't just go to school, do your work, and then come home and just do whatever you want for the rest of the night. Although I'm sure some people definitely do that. But for the vast majority of people, you have to do homework, right? So you don't just go to school, come home and have all that time off. You still need to go home and practice it while you're at home. And a lot of times you need to learn things on your own or kind of review the concepts of the day before you come into school the next day. And you just need to do that at home, sitting by yourself, making sure you understand it and getting that practice in. So I 100% believe that this same, philosophy applies, strongly with karate. And even with, any other martial art or sport or basically anything in life that you want to get good at. So a lot of people when, I was coming up through, learning karate and even through the stages of teaching karate especially, I would see a lot of people that would come into class, they'd say they'd come in and they'd come to karate like maybe 2-3 times a week maybe. They'd go to their class and then they would tell me that they don't practice at home. And if you're cool with that, that's completely fine. If you don't want to start going to tournaments, if you don't want to get better faster, that's completely fine. If you do it just as a hobby, that's normal. But if you want to get better at karate faster, chances are, 2 to 3 times a week just coming into class for like 45 minutes an hour isn't really going to do that for you. So that's why I call it homework. So homework being actually going home and practicing it. So whether it's reviewing the concepts that you learned in class, whether it's like a new move, anything like that. And for those of you that are in karate, you know what it is. Katas, which are basically patterns or sequences of moves. Practicing those at home are extremely, extremely important. And that basically is practicing, different concepts and different movements because the kata is the combination of those things. And that part is actually kind of a no-brainer because in karate you need to memorize specific amounts of katas in order to grade for specific belts. So if you just come in class and you learn the kata and you don't go home and practice it, you're not going to be nearly as good at it as you would be if you went home and practiced. And there's a really big chance that you're probably going to forget new stuff, especially if you learned a lot in the time that you were at the dojo. I can't even tell you the amount of times that students would forget some of the new stuff they learned in the last week. So when they'd come in the next week, you would basically just be reteaching them what they forgot from the last week, which obviously means you're not really getting anywhere. You're staying in that same spot and you have to relearn every time. So say for example, if you learn something on a Monday and then Wednesday you have to get retaught it, and then Monday you learn something, Wednesday you have to get retaught it. You're not going to get anywhere fast. You need to make sure you're practicing that at home so you're remembering the katas, you're getting good with the movements, you're feeling more confident with doing the movements. You're like, oh, this actually feels right, feels like I'm doing the move correctly. And that's what the concept homework will do. Now, the second way you can get better at karate faster is actually something that applies with many, many different sports, and that's simply stretching. Now, stretching is a huge thing for karate because, as I'm sure a lot of you know, kicks are a huge thing in karate. So, front kicks, roundhouse kicks, side kicks, whatever, kicks are super important. And if you want to be good at karate, you can't be, having a hard time kicking above your waist or anything like that. You need to be flexible and you need to be strong while being flexible at the same time. So one way you can get better at karate faster is simply by stretching. So a lot of times I would go home and I'd do the same routine that I did in karate class because a lot of times you'll stretch before you do the class. I follow that same routine or, maybe find a couple things on the internet that works for me. And I would stretch as much as possible just so that, I was more flexible. So this allows you to, again, as I said, first of all, you can kick higher, which is obviously very, very important in karate, as I mentioned. And you have a higher or a further range of motion. So, you know, some people look tight and their katas don't look very good, or when they're doing sparring, you know, they're very tight and it's hard for them to, you know, reach far, or again, even with kicking, not even just in katas kicking high. If you go to head kick somebody in sparring and you like tear a muscle in your leg because you haven't been stretching and you're not flexible, that's not going to be good. And that also brings up the point of wanting to stretch so that you decrease injury. You know, you don't want to get injured. Obviously, it's not fun in the first place. And especially if you're trying to get better at karate faster, then you need to make sure that you don't get injured, because then you're going to have to take time off. And that's not fun for anybody. You miss out on the fun, you miss out on the lessons, and you're not going to get good fast because you kind of have to obviously take time off to recuperate from that injury before you can get back into training and learning. So now we come to my final way, in my opinion, to get better at karate, and that's additional training. Now you might be asking, what do I mean by additional training? Additional training, in my opinion, for this specific context, is any other outside form of training. For example, being, I'll use my example specifically, is from the ages of probably, I want to say 6 to maybe 14, around that age. I also played hockey at the same time as doing karate. At one point I had to decide which one I wanted to do because I needed, you know, to take up more of my time with karate. So karate was the quick, obvious choice. And then, you know, that kind of took up all the time that I was using with hockey, which, you know, I'm still very happy that I made that decision. But that's kind of what additional training is. So by doing hockey, I also was, you know, doing more cardio. I was also getting, you know, strength training in, all things like that. You know, any form of exercise and improving your overall health is going to help you with martial arts as well. And then I actually played the position of goalie, so I needed to be really flexible as well. So I was just talking about that last point with being flexible. And, you know, before I would go in net as the goalie before a game or before a practice or whatever, I would always make sure I stretched. So that's extra time stretching, and that's extra time, you know, doing all kinds of workouts and things like that. So my body was getting stronger, my body was getting more flexible, and my overall health and conditioning was increasing from doing that. So that's what I mean by any additional training. So if you play another sport, if you just like to exercise on the side, whether it's, you know, you like to go for runs, you like to go biking, you like to do weightlifting, anything like that, any exercise is going to help with karate, you know, because karate obviously, like we've talked about, requires strength, flexibility, all these kinds of things, and any form of additional training that is, you know, at least somewhat substantial is going to significantly help you with that. So guys, that brings us to the end of the video. Those were my 3 ways of how to get better at karate faster. Reviewing it really quick, homework, making sure you practice at home. Same thing as school, you don't just go to school, learn the things, and then go home and do nothing for the rest of the night. Or at least if you want to do good in school, that's not what you do. So if you want to do good in karate, you got to make sure you do your homework and go home and practice. You need to stretch to make sure that you're flexible, you avoid injuries, your kicks can be higher, your range of motion is higher, so you're going to perform better. And then finally, that additional training. So, you know, make sure you have fun by doing whatever other sports you want to do as well. Or, you know, like I said, running, you know, biking, doing anything like that, weight training, something like that is going to help your overall performance and your overall ability with karate and with anything else in general. They go hand in hand. Your karate is going to help your additional training or your other sports. And then obviously your additional training and other sports are going to help you with your karate as well. So guys, hopefully this was helpful for you. I wanted it to be as helpful as possible because, like I said, I've been watching videos for other sports of how to get better fast, and they've been very helpful to me. So let me know if you guys are trying this out right now or you're going to try it out. I hope it helps you guys. It's definitely something that helped me throughout my, can't even count how many years of doing karate now. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.